This is
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Apologies to my Uncle Yop and Aunt Katrine. I don't want to talk over them. Episode 1700! 1700! We've gotten to 1700! Woo! 1700! Yay! 1700. 1700. There you go. That's called a podcast.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
With longevity. Do I still do interviews of musicians? Not really.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
I don't do that, but it's been a podcast now for 1700 episodes, and I've been podcasting since 2009, don't you know? And I love doing it because it's fun, and people will sometimes listen to it, and sometimes people go, Mike Matthews, you are like a ancient druid with your knowledge and sage advice.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
And I say thank you for that witty retort. And you retorted with me, and we snorted.
Mike's
Retort
Daily
is the name of this episode.
Podcast.
Usually I come up with a name like Landmark or Milestone or Achievement. Ooh, Achievement. Okay, we might go with Achievement or Retort. You'll know by the time you're listening to this what we've chosen for the title of today's podcast. But I have to say, even though this is an Achievement or a Retort, I probably won't be doing another podcast until Thursday of next week because my schedule has changed and some people have walked in. Hello, Mike Matthews, it's Shelly Stewart, gift shop supervisor. What do you mean your schedule's changed? Well, my schedule... They want me at my job to do extra training because I guess I'm horribly dumb. I'm a dum-dum. So they want me to dum the dum-dum girls, the dum-dum-dum, the dum-dum girls. There's a band called Dum Dum Girls that got their name from a Talk Talk song. And that Talk Talk song is from the album that has It's My Life, Don't You Forget. Interesting story about that song. With the keyboard that I won't go into right at the moment. But look who else walked in. Oh, Mike, this is Floyd the floor man. Not the doorman, but the floor man. And this is John Deere, the engineer. Yes, Mike, it's very interesting. The keyboard synthesizer.
And here's today's podcast picture.
Sound in that song goes dun dun dun. I mean, it goes dun dun dun, and that at the beginning, the verse part. Hi, Basil. He knows that song. He was singing a little bit of it too. Yeah, what I noticed in this keyboard show, I think it's called Reverb or something to that effect. That's on YouTube, a YouTube video. The guy showed that to make that sound, you have to. You know how keyboards have that little twizzle stick that goes to the side? And like they'll bend it in a little way. Well, to make it, you can't bend it all the way. That sound, you have to bend it just like, what is that? 90 degree? Not quite 90. 15? I don't know. I can't look at a clock. Is there a clock in here? No, we got no clock on the wall at the cafe anyway, because it's like a bar. Who needs to know what the time is? It's not important. At any rate, it was a little bit of a to reproduce that sound. You basically had to be the keyboardist for Talk Talk, who I don't know who that was at the time, but that was their big song. It's my life, don't you forget. And then Gwen Stefani covered it later with No Doubt. But my point is, as I'm retorting all over the place, is the podcast picture today is, you know, I keep coming back to this picture from the airport, but I feel weird posting a picture of the airport. That's so like, I just flew to the airport and then left. This is nice. This is the sun setting. Then I talked about the Tomoka River earlier this week, so let's finally put a picture from the Tomoka River. This was the sun setting at the Tomoka River, and there was this nice little sunburst there, and you can see that picture at mikesdailypodcast.com on this Friday, as my mom and I sat at this wonderful little grill right by the water and this place had all these cool decks, and it was big, and it's a destination. People don't really know where it is. When tourists come to Daytona Beach, they just go to the beach and they never go inland a little bit to this amazing river destination, which there are alligators in that river. I don't think I'd ever want to go into that river, but you can see that picture at mikesdailypodcast.com. But yes, what an achievement. 1,700 episodes. And what I'd like to also say, what an achievement, is the guy that did the show, the Marco Minute, which, should I play the intro here? Let's do the little intro.
The Marco Minute. The Marco Minute.
Albeit a kind of a quicker version of it. This Sunday, he's going to be doing a show on one of the radio stations I work for. And he's going to talk sports because that's his thing. So good for him. And I didn't even know how to say his last name. It's like Ukulovich, not Ukulovic. But now we know, because there are these little commercials running on the radio station I work for that explain it. Did you ever take a hip-hop class? To me, to hear, and NPR was talking about a hip-hop class the other morning. And I thought to myself, what happened? What's going on? Basically, why don't you just call it I understand, like, that it... I have a problem with any class in college. All right, I took a creative songwriting class in college, and I think I got half a credit for. I didn't even get any credit for it, basically. And it was a fantastic class. I learned a lot. I met a lot of cool songwriters. It was very inspirational for me, and I wrote a lot of songs after that, and I loved it. Got to perform, I think, for the very first time in front of people. But a hip-hop class, studying the history of hip-hop, I know I'm old, and I've been alive the entire history. Hip-hop has come to life way after I came to life. So the point is, it seems to me hip-hop wouldn't be a university-level type college class, but apparently it is. And I know, even those of us who hate hip-hop or hate rap, we do know that, or like at least one hip-hop or rap song. So, but to me, a class like that, which I got no credit for, basically, with a similar class, I just figured there's going to be a lot of pot smoking going on. And it's going to be a party class. So, all right. Enjoy it. All right. With your teacher, Matthew McConaughey. Hip-hop class. What do you think about that? You can email me, mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com, or you can call me at 336-MM-DAILY. That's the number here at Cafe anyway, 336-MM-DAILY. I mean, it'd probably be like a new wave talk, early 80s music class would probably be I would love to take it. I don't know. I would take it seriously if I took that class. But I basically know everything they would teach. I would have to teach the class, basically. My mom is doing better. Thank you for the prayers, thoughts and prayers. Oh, I hate that phrase. Hate that saying. But mom's back is still hurting, but at least they gave her a little bit of some kind of... Well, they basically gave her opioids, rather. And that's how the medical profession is in the world today. But they said, Mom, that's what everybody calls her mom. Mom, take these opioids. And my mom said... I am against these because Trump is against these, and my mom loves Trump. Loves him. And what did Trump say?
This is a fine-tuned machine.
And don't take opioids, is basically what he said.
I know what's good and bad.
So, yeah, she doesn't want to take those opioids. But here's the thing, is they are going to do x-rays. So, the doctors... I'm not the biggest fan of this doctor. This doctor gives her something to numb the pain, but she says in the future, in a couple days, they're going to do x-rays. Why they couldn't do x-rays right there and then and fix her, I don't know. But that's the medical world in our world today. the medical profession, or perhaps just in Daytona Beach, where I'm sure they deal with seniors constantly, and perhaps this is the system they have worked out, which I don't agree with. I think, and this is something she agreed with, she needs to start some kind of physical rehabilitation, something to do with the back to get her. Maybe she's walking wrong. Maybe there's... Because when I've had back issues in the past, it's always been when I put on weight, when my diet or my lifestyle has become so sedentary and I've sat so much, my back doesn't know how to be a back anymore. And the muscles around, like the stomach muscles and everything, have atrophied. And that's when I start having back issues. So I try to... I'm not a fan of sit-ups because that can mess up your back too. But the whole stomach crunch, for lack of a better... I hate that term, stomach crunch. And I also hate the term retort. No, retort's okay. Thoughts and prayers, that's the one I hate. But yeah, so you do the stomach, what is it, the crunch, the muscle flex thing, where you hold it for a while. And that helps the stomach. It strengthens the stomach. Whatever you can do to strengthen the stomach muscle can help the back. So then the muscles around the back are supporting the back instead of the back doing all the work and the bones. And at that age, and she told me, the doctor told her, when women get older, they get the osteoporosis, and she has that. So the bones become brittle. And thus is life, my friend. Thus is the wisdom I can give to you at the 1700th episode, the 1700th hour, the 1700th show. And I am going to be not doing shows probably until Thursday next week because I'm going to be trained. And that means I get to come in later in the day. Woohoo! That is what I'm so excited about. I don't have to be at work till 11 o'clock. Oh. But as I've told you in the past, this podcast is about getting it to you early. If there is some chance I can do it in the evening, maybe I'll do a podcast. But I'm thinking, and in Wednesday, I'm not going to be able to do a podcast that early because I'm sleeping in, because I'm going to be at the other job. Anyway, it works out that I need my sleep, damn it. And that's all. The 1700 episode. But I was talking to my mom when I was in Florida about her au pair stories. My mom was an au pair several times. One of the times the first time was in England, and she traveled with this family. And they had a boy and a girl. And they used to go on a lot of trips. They'd have the camper van, as the Brits like to say, the camper van. And they would drive around England, and they went to Scotland and went to Loch Ness. My mom actually swam in Loch Ness, yes, where the beloved Loch Ness monster lives. Nessie. It's so Nessie. Is it a Ness or is it a mess?
A mess.
Okay.
It's a mess.
So my mom swam in Loch Ness and got stung by a jellyfish. Yes, there are jellyfish in Loch Ness. And it was such a bad sting, my mom went into convulsions. She tells this story. And they had to take care of her. And one time, as they were traveling, usually they put up a tent for her. But one night it rained really bad, and the tent wouldn't have worked. So she had to sleep in the car, in the back seat. She told me that story. And when she lived with this family, she lived above a tavern that was like a Scottish tavern, and they played bagpipes all the time, late at night, and it would wake her up. And that was her first experience outside of Germany. My mom is from Germany. Did I forget that part? Huh. Did I forget that? I don't have that German music anymore, do I? I've got this thing. That's not really German. That's more of a... that sounded like a bunch of pirates dancing together. And so, the point is that you've got to get out of your camper van, and you got to get out and explore the world. But my mom's au pair stories are wonderful. When she came to France, she was in France for a while and was an au pair 3 times. for 3 different families. Actually, 2 families. And then she worked for this guy where all she was required to do was make him lunch every day. And he would come to this apartment, eat lunch, work on some papers, and then leave. He was an architect. And nothing funny was going on. None of the, weird stuff that you might think in France might be going on. The stuff. I'm looking for my French music is what's happening. There we go. But the point is, there's a call. Let's take the call. Hold on. Okay. That's, as we go outside a cafe anyway, we're bringing Mike's Daily Podcast over in Podcaster Valley. I was just notified that someone will be late. So yeah, that was an interesting job. Oh, and he would give her money to buy records. Yeah, maybe that song I just played was part of it. Yeah, and she had to make, and he was a vegetarian. And she would make him food, and then sometimes he wouldn't show up, and she would eat the food herself or throw it out. Yeah. And then after she left Paris, that was about a year, she went to America. Been coming to America. And she was an au pair again, this time for a family in Bel Air. An au pair in Bel Air. And that whole story of her flying to America, it took her 24 hours to get to America because the flight was delayed because she was leaving out of France. And they were waiting for some Russian Olympic team of some sort that was late. And they had to fly the Russians. They were flying into New York. And then the Russians, I guess, were getting on a bus to go up to Montreal. And then she ended up coming to Los Angeles, and she was like late and delayed, and this is before cell phones, before you can call people and say, hey, and so her family that she was staying with didn't pick her up, so she had to stay with this girl that she met on the plane. And the interesting thing about this story is it was the first time when she stayed with this lady's family in Los Angeles that she had met on the plane. It was the first time she ever took a shower where there was actually substantial water pressure. In Germany, growing up, like the water pressure was like just basically a trickle. And in California, Los Angeles, she had this unbelievable water pressure. She said she will never forget it. And it's funny, to this day, when I go visit her in Florida, the little guest bathroom she has the most amazing water pressure. It is such a wonderful shower. She probably has it maxed out in the water heater, which I don't know if that's the best idea. You're wasting water. But at the same time, it feels great. At any point, my point is, this was episode 1700, and we talked about au pairs. We talked about retorting. We talked about talk. I think it was a good show. Linda Blatt supports Brett Kavanaugh, and she is a lawyer who often argues for liberal causes. And her theory was, hey, Brett Kavanaugh, I know him. He's going to be good. If you thought Democrats, Trump, this is probably the most favorable choice to all of you Democrats. That Trump could have picked someone way worse, way more conservative. And she seems to be saying that Brett Kavanaugh is going to be the most suitable choice to Democrats. Democrats should be happy, is what she's saying. Which is kind of this feeling I'm getting from people talking about Trump. The Better the Devil You Know, which is a fantastic song by Split Enz that no one knows except me and maybe some fans of Talk Talk. But in New Zealand and in Australia, you probably have heard of Split Enz, and that later became Crowded House with Neil Finn and Tim Finn. But the song, sometimes I wish I could fall to sea. The better the devil you know. It's a good song, I like it. But the point is that better the devil you know seems to be the attitude towards Trump, in that if Trump gets impeached, guess who becomes president? Mike Pence. And Mike Pence is going to be a lot stricter, a lot harsher, a lot more conservative, a lot more Ted Cruzian than Trump. So that's something to think about. as we go into the weekend and as I disappear for about a week. I'm going to miss you. But please drop me a line, 336-MM Daily. You can call me or email me, mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. And we're on a myriad of places for the social media. You can find all those at mikesdailypodcast.com. And you can tell me what topics you'd like me to talk about. Perhaps you'd like to respond to some of the topics I've covered. Perhaps you want to just congratulate me for 1,700 episodes. Or, I don't know, you just want to reach out, but like that person did from Turkmenistan that recently. That was great. So, have a great weekend. Don't burn all your Nike stuff. That's releasing a lot of fluorochlorobarbiturates into the atmosphere, and that's bad. And Colin Kaepernick is only in that commercial for half a second anyway, so don't freak out. And Nike is laughing all the way to the bank with this because they got all this free publicity, and people just screaming, "Do it! Just do that!" And yeah, Nike burn challenge. The stupidity. Good God, that's a thing. People burning their stuff on video. Nike stuff. Oh, and Burt Reynolds died. Oh my gosh. There was a time and a long time to get there. You're gonna see this rabbit on the run. Burt Reynolds was, and I talked to my mom about this yesterday, so much of when I was growing up, every single movie that you went out, if you wanted to have a good time, go to the theater and laugh your butt off, you'd go see a Burt Reynolds movie. We saw every single movie. Smokey and the Bandit, Hooper. All these movies had to do with cars and stuntmen, and actually Smokey and the Bandit was done by a stuntman, as was Cannonball Run. All these movies, and then later, of course, he would do the porn movie. But yeah, Burt Reynolds. Oh, and then he was in that My Name is Earl show, where he ran this club, this stripper club type thing, and later on Norm Macdonald did this great Burt Reynolds impression. So Burt Reynolds, apparently toupees, he made them fashionable for half a second, and mustaches. So he's gone. He passed away in Florida, where my mom lives. So we were talking about that. And yeah, that's great. Oh, and Alex Jones, speaking of Florida, insulting Marco Rubio. What the dang, ding dang, calling Marco Rubio a frat boy and tapping him on the shoulder as Marco Rubio is trying to do an impromptu press conference there after the Twitter trial, or press conference, whatever you want to call it with Twitter, with the Jack Dorsey. And Jack Dorsey then, right after that, is like, okay, Alex Jones is banned from Twitter. Done. Done and done. He should have did that back when Facebook and everybody else was banning Alex Jones. But no, after that, and after that display, and Alex Jones just being just a jerk, rampant jerk, gone. You know what? Alex Jones fans don't care. They're fine. They find Alex Jones. They know where to find him. They need their fix of Alex Jones. They go to his website. And Alex Jones laughs all the way to the bank because he gets all the clicks and all the views and the eyeballs, and he can prove with the analytics to his sponsors, hey, pay me more money because, look, I got all these people. So who cares? It is not... I can't believe conservatives going, oh my gosh, it's censorship. Shut up. This is the first person you guys should be censoring. He's making you guys look bad. Shut up. With that, I gotta shut up. Have a great weekend. Have a great week. Hopefully we'll talk to you soon, sooner than later. And thank you for listening to the show. More tea tales, tea time, teetotaling. I don't know where that tangent has led us to, but if you want more details, go to what this wonderful person named Ariel is going to tell you. Thank you so much. Next show, Benita, the disgruntled fiddle player and the brewmaster.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at mikesdailypodcast.com. Email Mike now at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!